Hello, I'm Eric Snodgrass, and thank you for watching today's midday Western U.S. regional forecast video brought to you by Nutrien Ag Solutions. I thought we'd begin by taking a look at the latest release of the U.S. Drought Monitor here, because we had been talking about now for several weeks and actually months about the drier than average conditions we've seen in parts of the Pacific Northwest, specifically coastal Oregon and Washington, but also northern Washington, getting into parts of the Rocky Mountains there in northern Idaho. And the reason why I want to begin with this is because the dialogue we began with, the bigger update that I released yesterday morning for the whole country, talked about this pattern shift we all paid attention to over the weekend. And we need to know if that pattern shift means any sort of significant rainfall for this region during this time of year. Now, at times, rainfall can be very beneficial for our row crops, potatoes, onions, wheat, everything we're growing here, sugar beets in the Northwest as well, but can also be damaging to certain crops. And so we need to know about the timing and location of this rainfall and what to expect. Meanwhile, California is still drought-free. Reservoirs look very, very good, and overall things are looking good. But we got to talk about temperatures there and evaporation rates. So let's get into all of this and get right to what we're expecting over the next 10 days. You see, there's been a bit of a flow pattern change that we've now noticed in the Pacific Ocean. It's something that we started to pick up on last Friday, and now we're really starting to see it be manifest here in the longer range forecast. And one of the big things you see here in the next 10 days is there's clearly a feature that's coming in just like this. It's going to be bringing some rain to coastal Oregon and Washington. Now, getting that precipitation here into, over the mountains into the basin is going to be a bit more challenging. Maybe my circle's a little bit too large there. Let's focus it right in through here. Here's Blue Mountains, of course, in the Rockies. But we need to see when and where this rain is coming in and its timing. So that change in the flow of the jet stream is seen here, honestly. We're looking at the flow of the atmosphere middle of the day on Tuesday. And what the jet stream is really doing is it's just split, and it is meandering all sorts of different directions, and pieces of it are moving in a very highly amplified kind of north-south, motion here rather than much stronger east-west. And you're like, wait a minute, don't I see this? I said, yeah, you do see that out there, but that's changing as well. Good thing is Alaska, after setting a new all-time record high temperature for the state, we do have some cooler weather coming in, but it's because of a change we've actually seen down here in the tropical Pacific. And I'm going to address this a lot more clearly in my long-range update coming out tomorrow on Wednesday. But the changes we've seen in the base state of the Pacific Ocean, specifically with El Nino, are critical for our longer-range forecast. So, okay, with that as the background, what are we seeing and what does it mean? I'm going to take you right into precipitation, because if you look back here, you do notice that there is this trough feature that is sneaking into the northwest. And here it is as it comes in. Ready? I'm going to click play. This starts off Tuesday around late morning, and this is going to progress through the middle of the day here on Wednesday, and then eventually over into Thursday morning. That's what we just watched in animation. Taking this back, watch it again. As we click play, widespread precipitation moving into coastal Oregon and Washington this afternoon and this evening. We will be seeing widely scattered showers and thunderstorms moving into the basin area and through here, Columbia Basin, and of course spreading through parts of Oregon as we get into the overnight hours on Tuesday night into Wednesday morning. Now, this first big push moves through by middle of the day on Wednesday. So here we are. This is now Wednesday midday, getting into the afternoon and evening hours. Still some widely scattered showers and thunderstorms over here in parts of Idaho and Montana, really blowing up in the mountains here. But after that, that's the first big push that brings in quite a bit of moisture. Outside of that, if you just notice, beyond this, so I'm getting into the Wednesday night to Thursday morning, just widely scattered coastal showers, which we typically expect this time of year, given the lift over the mountains. So big push of rain coming through Tuesday into Tuesday night into Wednesday morning, and after that, things kind of calm down a bit. But what I really want to focus on here is, does anything come after this? So let's play now out the European model. And there goes the system we just discussed. Here it is. This is Wednesday afternoon, evening, Thursday morning, afternoon, evening. Now, after that, we see systems coming out here in the Gulf of Alaska, but they tend to take more of a trajectory that goes and takes them into British Columbia. I've got you all the way out now to Monday, July 15th. So it looks like any rain we're going to be getting in the near term is going to be coming in the next 24 to 48 hours, with systems after this really kind of hitting British Columbia rather than much of the Pacific Northwest. California, you're high and dry for a while. That's why I'm focusing on the Pacific Northwest here. But let's now turn our attention from that precipitation pattern over to temperatures. And this is where the real change is coming in. Over the next 5 days, in terms of what we're expecting in terms of temperatures here, much more seasonable for parts of the Pacific Northwest. Okay, you're going to see that in a few minutes. After that, days 6 through 10, the jet stream kind of ends up getting itself into a pattern that's doing something a bit more broad like this. And California under this is going to be seeing quite a bit of heat build. The heat that we are actually seeing in this whole region is going to help getting our monsoon going. Well, not quite yet, but very soon for parts of the desert Southwest. But look at what happens when I take you from here out to days 11 through 15. If you've noticed, the big change in my forecast is in the area that's circled. We had for quite some time in the last 2 weeks said, hey, it looks as though by the time we get to mid-July, we're going to see a lot of heat up the entirety of the West Coast. But because of some of the stuff I'll be addressing in tomorrow's long-range update, specifically the change in the flow of the atmosphere across the Pacific, we now no longer see sustained very high temperatures in the Pacific Northwest. California, a little bit different story here, but overall, that's a pretty big change for the West. Now, looking at our individual temperatures, I'm going to start you off here. This is high temperatures on Tuesday, and we're going to stretch through the next 7 days here. So we can see that in the Pacific Northwest, temperatures getting in the middle to upper 80s in the Columbia Basin there. That's very seasonable for this time of year. Here's Wednesday's highs. Thursdays, just trying to crack 90. Sometimes they'll get triple-digit heat in there, so this is not super hot. Even the Snake River Valley in through here, seeing low to mid-90s across much of that region in Thursday. Friday's high temperatures here, not much of a difference, you can see. Getting into Saturday, Sunday, and Monday. So we're not seeing the extremes in heat in the Pacific Northwest, which is important. That's going to lower our evaporation rates. That's going to reduce our fire risk. And this pattern overall is setting up to keep the Pacific Northwest more on the cooler side. But as I said, California, a little bit different story. As we start off the day on Tuesday, let's see here. Sorry, let me take you back there again. Here we go. In the day on Tuesday, temperatures throughout much of the Central Valley here between upper 80s and lower 90s. But as we get into Wednesday, San Joaquin Valley, you see a lot of mid-90s here getting into the upper 90s. And of course, this is always elevation dependent, so it's how close you are to the mountains on either side that changes things here. But I've got you out to Thursday. We can see down here right in the valley, triple-digit heat, upper 90s all the way up into the Sacramento Valley as well. And now we're getting into Friday, a lot of high heat here. Triple digit, we're up to 110, 115 degrees in the desert. And then right here in the valley, we're seeing some high temperatures getting up to the century mark again. Saturday, same thing. Sunday, maybe slightly cooler in the Sacramento Valley, but not much. And as we get into Monday, we're just going to continue to see this pattern evolve. So while the Pacific Northwest is getting a bit of a cooler, compared to average, compared to what it could be, the California is still bringing on the heat. So what does that mean in terms of evaporation rates? We'll just kind of look over here at the color bar. You can see, look in the Pacific Northwest. These rates are not exceptionally high. Where we do get those middle to upper 90s in the Snake River Valley, yeah, we're going to be seeing evaporation rates around 2 to 2.5 inches here. But coming over to the Columbia Basin, we're sitting down here in this, 1.5 to maybe 1.75 inch area. Meanwhile, over the next 7 days, we're going to be seeing in the northern part of the Central Valley of California, so mainly the Sacramento Valley, seeing rates between 2 and 3 inches. But look down here in the southern part of this. We're actually getting off my charts at times given that heat that's coming through here. So maybe evaporating more than 3, maybe at times up to 4 inches. So where the heat is, you just know that the evaporation is going to be taking over. But do notice here where the rain is coming in the next few days, our rates are much lower with that cloud cover and precipitation. So that's an important figure to be looking out for here. Now, to finish this video up, I'm going to play for you the upper level flow pattern here, and this is significant. What's significantly different about this, I addressed a little bit in the forecast video yesterday, but you do notice this broader trough sneaking into the Gulf of Alaska. Now, that is what is going to continue to help keep British Columbia, Washington, Northern Oregon, Idaho, this region near average or cooler than average. Underneath it, California, you're going to still experience the heat. What has happened in general, though, is that the flow has ended up doing something a bit more like this with time. And we've seen the broadening out of this ridge over the southern half of the United States. And that is one where everywhere under that ridge, I just kind of drew here, is going to be seeing some warmer than average temperatures. Now, what I want to show you is, if I take you all the way out beyond this to the last week of July, we still continue to see a flow pattern that is very supportive of a jet stream that's retreated north, that has slowed down, broader troughs and ridges. And we are seeing here that by the end of July, it's that time period where maybe the whole of the West returns back up to warmer than average conditions. But I'll be skeptical of these temperature changes until I really see it showing up in our shorter range models. But it's something I want everybody who's watching this video to pay attention to, okay? Because when we start to get heat like this, that's when we start to get very concerned about quick evaporation of water and much higher fire risk. We will be addressing soon when we start to see the monsoonal flow coming into the desert Southwest as well, as that's a major player moving forward. Okay, that's what I've got for the Western region today. Again, make sure that you tune into my long-range forecast tomorrow. I'll give a good discussion about what's going on with El Nino, what's going on with those ocean temperatures out west, and how long the pattern, which we just discussed here, may hang around, and what do I see as the major caveats to that. So we'll get there tomorrow. Have a great week. We at Nutrien Ag Solutions, thank you for attention. We'll talk to you soon. Thank you.